this.
Give me an answer to that question.
When he was up here, he was respectful. He let the scriptures come out. His goons,
But you ran
let
from
you do it,
Genesis. You
man.
ran from the Bible.
We didn't have to run from
You don't
nothing.
like Jesus.
We
You
already
don't
read
like
it.
the
We got
Bible.
Matthew 1:21.
John 8:24.
We got
Let you
Matthew
believe in our
You're
God.
using
His brother as
We
a
got
scapegoat.
Exodus 3
So
and 2.
you don't have to answer.
We already answered.
Oh, yeah.
No, you didn't.
Hey, brothers, did I answer? That's the only answer I need. Go ahead. I'm going to tell y'all.
So let me explain this. These guys didn't even understand the question that we were trying to talk about here. This is the Matthew 1:21 discussion. I was asking them, what is this verse telling us about Jesus? Right? Matthew 1:21 again says, you shall name him Jesus for. Right? He's given the reason. This is why you're to name him Jesus. That means Jehovah saves or Yahweh saves, because he will save his people from their sins. So it's identifying him as Yahweh.
It's not Yahweh, right? And you're wrong, right? And then you cut yourself right there because it said he should save his people. So you know, the whole point is you shoot yourself in the foot, but then somehow you're oblivious that God is about everybody, right? So yeah, so this is a definition word oblivious, right? So oblivious, not aware of or not concerned, and ultimately that you're not really concerned about actually following the truth, right? You're not even concerned about our souls, right? Whether if it was a false religion, whatever religion, if we're telling you at one point in time we were selling drugs, we were doing all sorts of things that was sinful, so to speak, committing adultery, right? Which are sinful things, right? And now we're not doing any of those things. We abstain from those things. You don't really care. You just care that the facts are coming out. The truth is coming out. Right? You're oblivious to what's really happening. Right? That Yahawashi, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, died for his people for their sins. You're oblivious that it says that. Right? You're not concerned about it. What is happening around oneself. You're not concerned what's happening around the scriptures. Right? Yeah. So with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory to Yahweh, Basham, Yahawashi, Basham, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Salutation to the Akim of Four Winds, preaching in truth, sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through their father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. And yeah, so basically going back to that, you're oblivious to what's going on around you, because look what it says in the scripture. It says Matthew 1:21, and she, who's the she? Mary, shall bring forth a son, and thus shall call his name Yahawashi. Right? It can't be Jesus when the letter J is newly created. Right? Now, the dude tried to use Yahweh, but there is no ease in the Hebrew, man. No matter how much they try to, this and that. So basically, you're saying the people that's over there who made up their Hebrew, which is not really Hebrew, it's chopped up different forms of, like 3 different languages. Right? It's like, you know what I mean? Which really goes to the, and and most of it's Yiddish, right? You got like some Aramaic and some Yiddish and something else involved to make up their Hebrew. Well, that's not Hebrew, homie. Right? Not to mention Jesus is Greek. The letter J is only 400 to 500 years old. For he shall save his people. So where do you come in with all these extra people, all these other nations, right? Well, but the mixed multitude. It says that when you go to, hey, save his people from their sins, because the sin is transgression of the law, right? And these are just the basics. So, got to hit back to the basics. It says 1 John 3:4, whosoever committed sin transgresses also the law. The only ones who were given the law were the Israelites. Now you do have, the law of nature, the law of this, the law of, like gravity, right? The natural stuff. Because if you keep cutting trees, obviously, it's for us to breathe. Obviously, it's gonna have a condition on the air, right? So that's like a law. You know what I'm saying? If you're allowing debauchery to happen, men can be with men, women can be with women. That's just a law on life and how it's not meant to be. That's why you have all these diseases, right? It's not meant for that to happen. But you say it's so, right? But the law, statutes, commandments given through from Yahweh unto Moses, and really all the way back from the beginning, because technically Adam and Eve had the laws. Like the brother, the elder Yashawamba, which is a good brother, man. Elder Yashawamba said, man, it was a good thing. I was like, dang, that do make sense, because what? The Lord had the law of what? Sacrifice. Right? How did Joseph know not to sleep with Potiphar's wife? He said, yeah, everything in this house he gave me commandment over, but you he didn't. Yours, and he ran. That's why he took off. He ran. That's a law. You're coveting another man's property. And that's what he was not finna do. That's another man's possession. That's his wife. Right? So you're full of it, man. So this is to transgress what the law, statutes, commandments, man. The 316 laws, man. For sin is the transgression of the law. So if you sin, you're transgressing the law, right? Yeah, so I'm gonna go over here to Joshua, what they call Joshua, right? Which we know his name. He has the same name as Yahawashi, right? So it says, and this is Joshua chapter 23, verse 1, and it came to pass a long time after that Yahweh, right, all caps, Yahweh gave rest unto Israel, which is Yasha Allah, right? He Prince Allah, which means power, right? Prince of power, from all their enemies round about. So where's the Lord loving everybody? The Lord went to war with all the enemies round about. And Joshua waxed old and stricken with age, right? And Joshua called for all Israel and for their elders and for the heads and for their judges and for their officers, and said unto them, I am stricken in age. Right? So he didn't say, hey, let's allow some heathens come over here and judge Israel and put them over Israel or put them equal with Israel. No, he called all the heads, all the elders, all the officers of Israelites, not the whole world. Come on, man. And ye have seen all that Yahweh, your power, right, have done unto all those nations. What have he done to them? He destroyed them because of you. For Yahweh, your power, is he that fought for you. Right? So, this is Joshua speaking. Matter of fact, let's go into Joshua's name.
And Yahawashi. And I'm doing this lesson because there's a lot of confusion out there as to what the real names are, what the name of the one you call God is, and his son, the one you call Jesus Christ. Because their names aren't Yahweh. It's not, their names aren't the name of the one you call God is not Yahweh. It's not Jehovah. It's not Ahia. You know, these are incorrect names, man. Same thing with his son. His son name isn't Joshua. It's not Jesus. It's not Yahshua. It's not Yehoshua. It's not Yeshaya. The name of God is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahawashi. Okay? And I'm going to explain that briefly to the point in this lesson, man. Okay? And I hope you brothers that's desiring to learn, I hope you brothers that want to learn the truth, you know, you can receive some understanding. But that's only if, you know, the Lord is opening your eyes to see it, you know. But as you can see here, I have the Hebrew characters, the Hebrew alphabet. Okay, I have the Paleo on the left, and to the right, I have the Assyrian, which is the Aramaic. Okay. Now, we spoke the Paleo Hebrew in the ancient world. Okay, even the one you call Jesus Christ, he spoke Paleo Hebrew. He didn't speak Aramaic. Okay, the disciples, they spoke Paleo. Okay, they spoke what's called the Lashawan Kodash, which is the holy tongue. Okay, the holy language. That's the Paleo Hebrew, man, which the word Paleo means ancient. All right, that's what they spoke. Okay, now to explain the characters here, which is pretty self-explanatory, I have the pronunciation to the right of it, to the right of the character. You have the A, the Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, T, Ya, Ka. It's a Ka, Tu, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Taza, Kwa, Ra, Sha, Tha. Okay? And as you can see, it ends with the I sound. There's no U sound. There's no A sound, like A. You know, those are pronunciations that Esau made up, the so-called Jews, okay? Now, this isn't Yiddish, all right? This isn't Yiddish. This is the actual Hebrew, man. Okay, this isn't mixed with German or Slavic or, you know, Russian. This is the authentic Hebrew, man. Okay? And over here, you have the Assyrian or Aramaic, which we didn't speak this. We didn't start speaking this until the Assyrian captivity. You had the northern tribes, the northern kingdom, what's called the 10 tribes. That's when they start speaking this. And when Esau dug up archaeology in America, You had certain archaeology that had this Hebrew on it, but it had the Paleo as well. Okay, but same thing with these alphabets with these characters. You have the Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, T, Ya, Ka. Now with these, it's a little different because for example, the beginning of a word, a lot of times the character might be different. You have two Kas. This will be the final. This will be the one at the end, and this will be the one at the beginning of a word. So if you have a Ka at the end of a word, it will be this character. All right. La, Ma, same thing with the Ma. Okay. So you have this one at the end. Same thing with the Na. Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Taza, Kwa, Ra, Sha, Da. Okay? So this is
Okay, yeah, so now that we're already here, let's just go into what Joshua, right, in the blue letter, and see how they break it down. Which, like sometimes the blue letter goes off. You know what I mean? So it says right here, right?
Strong's H 3091. Yehoshua. Yehoshua.
Yehoshua.
And second entry. Yehoshua. Yehoshua.
Right? So they got Yehoshua. And then if you've seen what the other brother was just speaking about, there's no E's, right? Because the name is supposed to be like the Most High's, which the Lord's name is Yah. Yah. Right? Yahweh. Right? Even when they try to give you that BS about Yahweh, but you still got the Yah, not the Yah. So where they get that from? So they're obviously misleading you, right? Because this is supposed to be their Hebrew. So how did you get Yah out of Yah? It doesn't make sense, right? Yeah, see? Even right there, they got Yahovah, right? Which is supposed to be for the Most High. But we're trying to go into
Strong's H 3467. Yashah. Yashah.
see? Even right there. So now they have the Yah sound. Well, how did you have a where's the Yah in that? You got a YAW in this Yasha. Okay, so I got this down. So this says yeah, Hushu ya, right? Or Yasha, or versus what we say, which is Yahawashi, right? Yeah, now look at this. This is a very good question right here. Did you know the letter J is no more than 600 years old? Right? So this is a very good question. So now that you know that the letter J is about 600 years old, right? How can a man who lived over 2,000 years ago be named Jesus? See, and this is what this guy kept saying. Oh, well, they seem unconcerned about Jesus, unconcerned about Christ. Well, a man 2,000 years ago would not be named Jesus or Christ, right? Especially him being a Israelite, a Hebrew Israelite speaking Paleo Hebrew, which is the ancient dialect of the land that they lived in, right? Anyone knows, right? So everybody should know the Paleo Hebrew alphabet is what it says. This is a Wikipedia. It says Phoenician, Hebrew, and all the sister Canaanite languages. Right? Whatever that's supposed to mean. Right? So, let me see. Right here. This is www.patenica.com. It says the Canaanite language, because that's what they call it. Because we took over the land of Canaan. Right? And we conquered the land of Canaan. Right? And we made all the people around us speak our language. Right? Then of course they don't want to give us credit. So they call it the Canaanite language because that's the land of Canaan that the Israelites have taken over. The Hebrew Israelites had taken over. Right? So it's called the Canaanite language. So everybody should know that. Right? So where would you get the E's and the J's and all this other stuff from when you go into the Paleo Hebrew? Which they know that's the ancient writings. Like the brother was just showing you. That's why I put that on there. It says group of northern, central, and northeastern Shemitic languages, including Hebrew. The Moabites spoke this thing, which are the so-called Chinese. The Philistines, which is basically, like a tribe of what they call today. What they call today is like Egyptians, which really are, which just go back to Ham, or really, what is it, Mizraim, right? Some of them are Mizraim and some are Canaanites, actual just Canaanites, which goes back to Ham. What is it? Pontic, something like that. They were spoken in ancient times in Palestine, right? Which were the Israelites taken over, right? On the coast of Syria, right? Which the brother went into that the Assyrians, right, conquered the northern kingdom, and they spoke a very similar dialect. Some of it was, a little bit different, but pretty much the same dialect. And in scattered colonies, right? So that's ultimately what it is. It says, oh yeah, this I wanted to see this right here. See right here, because people will go over and make it like the Arabic is older than the Hebrew, but that comes from Hebrew, right? Like the brother was breaking down. That's when the Assyrians took over the northern kingdom, and they started speaking a certain type of dialect of the Hebrew, but it's called the Assyrian dialect, which, or you could call it Aramaic, right? So is Aramaic the oldest continuous spoken and written language in the Middle East, even older than the Hebrew? So is Aramaic older than Hebrew? In Arabic, it is it is among the eldest writings languages in the world. Approximately 3,000 years ago, Aramaic speakers mainly located in the Near East, right? Which they didn't answer you, right? It's among the eldest. It didn't say it's the oldest. So even with all this stuff, we know that the Hebrew is what the Lord spoke. Let there be light in the Paleo, right? Right. Okay. Yeah. This is dictionary.com. It says from its humble beginning as a Roman numeral, it Slovakia, from the humble beginning as a Roman numeral to its eventual 10th position in the English alphabet, J has had quite a linguistic journey, right? Coming from a Roman numeral into a language, into being able to, put it into so-called words, right? Right, which proves that this is Rome all over again. That this is the second leg of Rome into the English language, right? NATO, EU, and America is basically the second leg of Rome, right? Right, because what is it? The Vatican being their religious part, England being their power, their money, the money, and then America being their military, their muscle, right? So it proves that this is Rome all over again, right? They even signed a thing called the Treaty of Rome, right? Dealing with NATO and EU, right? And it says yeah, it had a linguistic journey. Was when was when was J added to the alphabet? It is a bit of a late bloomer. After all, it was the last letter to be added to the alphabet. So you're speaking. No, Yahawashi was not that he was born. He died 2,000 years ago. Not he was born. You're talking about the time he died was 2,000, more than 2,000 years ago. And this dude, maybe let's say 1,000 years, 1,500 years to 1,000 years later, he creates this thing and says it's coming from a Roman numeral, and we're gonna put it in the alphabet, and now that's what matters. Now you can call this man whatever you want, even though he's a Hebrew Israelite, though he spoke Paleo Hebrew. But they're gonna make it sound like everything's okay. So it says yeah, and the late bloomer. It was late bloomer. After all, it was the last letter added to the alphabet. It is no coincidence that I and J stand side by side. They actually started out as the same character. The letter J began as a swash, a typo, typographical embellishment for the already existing eye with the introduction of the lowercase letter to the Roman numeric system. So it was already part of the Roman numeric system. J was commonly used to denote was it constellations? Constellations of a season. Okay, so of one as in this one right here. So it has X, then it has the lowercase so-called like would be I's, and then J. What they say is a J. I mean, I never heard that. You know, you've been on A, B, C, D, E, F, G throughout your school. They've never spoke to you about this. You even went to college, and no one's ever taught you about this, right? But either which way, they can make it sound good. Okay, maybe it was the thing. 1,500 years later or 1,000 years later, this guy goes, yeah. Let me just throw this in on there. Let me see. Let's just get to the point. It says in 1524 when was it Gain Genio Tricino and an Italian Renaissance grammaric known as the father of the letter J. Right, which we know that in the Renaissance means to what? The rebirth of who? The Edomites, man, coming out of the Caucasus Mountains, which calling themselves what? Caucasians, which means cave dweller, right? And you're the Edomites, which ruled Rome, which had the Israelites in was it as a providence, had Israel as a providence, and then later on was grabbing them up, putting them into slavery. So we know that that's who you are. So why should we be concerned about that? So call all them Yahweh Basham Yahawashi, Basham Rakal Kudash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the occupant of four winds, preaching the truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akwatium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. Shalom and a Bible ball.